Hey, welcome to Color Up. Today we're going to find out if you really can earn a free cruise by playing craps. All right, today with me I have an expert on craps and cruising. Well, I call him an expert. So this is my friend Brian. He has since started a channel called the Holy Roller. Is that the full channel name, Brian?
Yeah, at Holy Roller without the
Uh,
ER, just the R.
Yeah, okay. And so he asked me about this a long time ago, like, hey, I'm thinking about this idea of combining craps and cruising and making a channel about it. And I'm like, that sounds amazing. Go for it. And I think just recently you hit 4,000 subscribers. Is that right?
Yeah. A little over a year, maybe a year and a half. So a little bit
That's
behind you. I'm almost there.
okay. So, Brian, without getting into too many details just yet, can you really cruise for free? And how many times have you pulled this off?
Well, I came about it by mistake, but I did pay for one cruise, and I've been on an average of one cruise per month for the last 3 years. And I haven't paid full price ever again. So I paid for one, and I've been doing it. You just have to pay taxes and port fees, which is just a couple $100 compared to a
Wait,
couple $1,000. It's pretty good.
wait a second. So like 3 years, so like 40 cruises?
Yeah, it's averaged once a month, and I've been on more than one ship. I'm trying to get on all the ships with Royal Caribbean, but I've been on a ship more than once, and the one we're going on, I've been on that one, I think, 3 times now.
Okay, so obviously you like cruises or else you wouldn't continue to do this. So what kind of came first? Playing craps or going on cruises? What was,
Well, it was the craps. I loved craps. I wanted to try cruising, and I we had an excursion that got canceled with the cruise, so they gave us some onboard credit, and they said we can use it or lose it. And I said, "Hey, there's a casino. Let's go to the casino." I played craps and ended up with a free cruise, and I'm like, "Wait, how did this happen?" And so
right?
that's why I really dove in and started the channel, let everybody else know about it.
So let's talk about cruising for a second. Like what do you like about cruising?
The thing I like about cruising is you get to travel, right? You get to travel, but you only have to unpack once, and you have your hotel moves instead of you going from hotel to hotel. That's one thing. The other thing is it's like an all inclusive resort. So, the shows are included, the food is included, and it's just a pretty cool experience. And you get to meet some awesome people.
So I mean, obviously you're playing craps on there, so they have casinos, and I guess all cruise ships don't, but the ones you go on do. What is the big difference you would say between a cruise ship casino and a land-based, like Vegas casino?
That's a good question. A lot of people, because it's in international waters, they think, oh, there's no rules out there. I think one of the biggest things is you can play in the casino when you're 18 years old. That's one of the weird things, but you can't win a free cruise if you're not 21. So that's kind of interesting. So you could
So
play in the
they'll
casino,
they'll
be
take your money, but
be
no
in the
comps.
right, until you're 21. That's one of the big differences, but the casinos on Royal Caribbean are sanctioned or licensed just like out of Nevada, actually, just like the Nevada casinos. So as far as rules and regulations, it's all the same there. There are some differences on the payouts, and like the odds on craps and stuff like that.
Well, let's get into some specifics because we're craps guys, and I think those watching are more interested in craps. At least on the Royal Caribbean line that you use, what are some of those weird rules or payouts that they might be a little bit different?
Yeah, well, I think probably the first one that I think freaks people out a lot is if both dice don't hit the back wall, it's a no roll, no exceptions, no redos. Like in other casinos, they'll give you a warning. They're like, "Hey, let's get it back to the back wall." But like if it doesn't hit the back wall before the dice even stop, they'll just say no roll and they'll just pull it back and say roll again.
I
I
actually
think that
don't.
freaks people out.
Yeah, I actually don't mind that rule that much because it makes it consistent. So it's not like a judgment call. Because sometimes at Royal Casino, it's short this time, and they'll be like, "Yeah, it's a roll," and at random, it's like,
Hmm.
"Nah, that one is a roll, and it's a seven," or you know what I mean. So at least it's
Right.
consistent. So that part's not
Yeah,
bad. What
yeah,
else?
they are very consistent with it. There are a lot of times where it is a short roll and it is a seven. It would be a seven out, but they're like no roll. And I'm
Yeah,
like, wow, I've never seen that before. Because usually other casinos, if a seven
right.
pops up,
That's what
they're like
I'm.
seven out. Yeah.
Right.
So
What?
that's one of the ones. And then the other one would probably be the odds, like the way the odds work. Now, I don't mean the odds on the payouts. What I mean is the odds behind the line. So if you do a $10, most tables that I've seen are either $5 or $10, but most of them are $10. And when you do $10 on the line, you can only do single odds behind. So it's only 10 and 10. So single odds is kind of probably the worst part about about the
Right.
cruise on Royal Caribbean, the craps on a cruise. But it is, most people say, well, okay, single odds, fine. How can I get more out there? Well, we're used to three, four, five times odds. And this one's kind of hard to explain without a visual, but um, if you go up to $15, they'll allow you to do three, four, five units, which means 4 and 10 is still single odds, 15 and 15. But then you get to 5 and 9, and you can do 4 units, which is $20. So 15 and
Okay.
20. And then if you do 6 and 8, you have $15 on the line. You could do $25 or 5 units. So it's different because it's not five, three, four, five times. It's
It's
three, four,
units.
5 units at the $15 level. Now, if you go up to $25, you can get double odds. So you can go 50 behind the line on every number. So it's like,
So
okay,
it's
we got single
structured
odds.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so most people say, okay, what do I have to do to get three, four, five times odds? And they're like, no problem. $50 minimum on the line. If you put $50 on the pass line, you could do three, four, five times odds. But, if you had, 20, $50 on the pass line on a 6 and 8, and you put 250 behind, you're still only getting rated for a $50 bet.
Right. Yeah.
$300 on the table, $50 bet,
Same
not
as
a good
all.
comp value.
Yeah, same as all
Yeah.
casinos. They don't rate the free odds. So now we're talking specifically about Royal Caribbean, and those are their rules. I know other cruise ship casinos rules also vary. Why have you chosen Royal Caribbean and kind of stuck with them?
I think that's a great question because a lot of people say, "Hey, I get free cruises on this line or that line." And I ask them, I say, "Hey, how did you do it?" And they're like, "Oh, I just played." And I go, "Well, okay, so like, how many points did you have to get?" And they're like, "I don't know." And I'm like, "Well, so you got a certificate. I mean, how'd you get it?" And they're like, "I just got it." There wasn't there's like a mystery on how you get it. And some people say you have to buy in for as much as you can and bet really, really big. And when I first got the first one on Royal Caribbean, that instant, the onboard credit that I had $300 and I got a free cruise. So it wasn't about that I had a lot of money. And so with Royal Caribbean, they have a very structured point system. It's time at the table and average bet equals by hour. So if you have $50 on the table and you on average you have $50 average bet for 1 hour, you're going to get 50 points. And so for me, I was like, okay, I need to get more points so I can get a cruise faster. So then you put more money on the table. Obviously, you get more points. But 1,200 points, 1,500 points, you have a free cruise, and it's very, very it's very structured, but it's also not like a mystery. Like
Right.
you can follow it along and see when you get it. And that's why I like Royal Caribbean.
Yeah, that makes sense because Vegas or basically any land base, it's always like, well, it's kind of a mystery, and yeah, to know specifically, hey, if I'm betting this amount, $200 on the table for 2 hours, it's this many points. And then, you could verify after you're done, and then, hey, tomorrow I need to earn this many more points. So at some point you kind of won a free cruise, and I don't know if you obviously didn't do it by this point system, but you did do it playing craps. Can you just kind of tell me about that first experience a little bit? Because you said you kind of happened upon it, right? Or it kind of got lucky.
Yeah. So what happened was I had $300. I was playing craps, and so whenever you go on a cruise, the thing that can change your itinerary are weather conditions or something like this. And so that's what happened. So not only did we not go to the beach, and we had a cabana that, and so they refunded the $300. Um, the weather was bad, so it wasn't like we wanted to be out on the pool deck, And so we just went to the casino, so there wasn't much to do. They did eventually. They said, "Hey, we're going to do a special show," because a show that wasn't scheduled, they put it on the so that people can do things. But for me and my wife, we're like, "Hey, let's just go to the casino."
Right.
The cruise was so, like, we spent about $3,000 on the cruise. So at this point, I wasn't planning on cruising again, because I was like, man, this was expensive. But now that I get it for a little bit less, I can cruise. It's sometimes cheaper to be on the cruise than at home, now. But because it includes everything, all the
Mm-hmm.
food and entertainment. But
Mm-hmm.
and I definitely would rather travel on a cruise than go from hotel to hotel. So I've learned a little bit over the time. But I was in the casino, and we're just playing and playing and playing, and just rotating the same money through. You know how craps goes: you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down. And then I actually got up a little bit, had a really good run, and turned the $300 into $2,000.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, this is a great cruise.
Right.
Because I took that 300, and then I go back to my cabin that night, and my wife was doing the same thing. Amber, she was doing the same thing, kind of on slots, just going to different slot machines and stuff. And she had a certificate that was like on our bed from our room attendant. And I said, Amber, how'd you get this? She said, I don't know. I was just playing the slots. And I said, but yeah, did it pop up and say congratulations or
Mm-hmm.
something? Like, was it a jackpot? Because it felt like a jackpot to get a free cruise after spending 3,000.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a free cruise for two. Whenever you earn them, is for two people. So I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, this is amazing. And she didn't know how she got it. So I took her and the certificate back down to the casino and said, excuse me, can you explain how my wife got this? And they said, oh yeah, sure. And they told me, and this was right when cruising just opened up, right after everything
COVID.
was
Yeah.
closed down. It just opened up. So I asked them, I said, is this just an incentive because you're trying to get people to cruise again? And they're like, no, we do this all the time. And I said, but will it ever end? And they said, no, I mean, it hasn't ended in however many years they've been doing it. And I'm like, okay, so she got one. Can I get one? Because I had a lot of money and I was playing, and they looked up on the computer. They're like, oh yeah, you just need 200 more points. And I'm like, well, how do I get points? And they
Mm-hmm.
said, well, what were you playing this? And then they explained it to me. And it's one of those things, like they don't really tell you unless you ask.
Okay.
So it's kind of like that. And so I found out I got the cruise. So we left that cruise with her getting a free cruise for two, and me getting a free cruise for two. So we just happened to pick the next month, and then the month after that. Well, when we
Nice.
went on that one, we both won free cruises again, and so
All right.
it's
Right.
just added up ever since. So that's kind
So
of how it went.
you found out that they have a very structured system, and then you said, "Hey, I can develop a system that's not necessarily about winning, but it's also not about losing. It's more about time at the table and bet size at the table. And obviously, it does take money, and you are gambling, right? So, but you can very systematically earn your points and earn that cruise just because you know what the goal is. So, and we're gonna head over to the table and kind of show that in a bit. We're free to share that, right? It's not like a secret or anything.
Yeah,
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 okay.
it's not a
Because I know you've covered it on your channel a couple times. So, and then later in the week, I will release another video, and I'm actually going to roll the strategy out and kind of do some more tests on it. But my kind of question is, do you really have to play to earn a cruise? Because I mean, I've heard people say, they went on a cruise, and then a few months later they got in the mail a free cruise offer. So it's kind of like, why would you risk gambling? Or like, for instance, like my wife just got back, and a flight attendant friend of hers told her, we just put $100 in the slot machine, and we just keep getting free cruise offers. So do you really have to follow a system and earn like 1,200, 1,500 points to play for a free cruise, when it seems like other people are just like willy-nilly getting cruises? So I don't know how that balances. Do you understand that kind of what I'm asking there?
Yeah, yeah. So there's a couple different ways to get free cruise offers, and one is to be in the system as a player in the casino, and that's with what they call Club Royale. Is so in Royal Caribbean, there's Crown and Anchor Society, which is just it has nothing to do with the casino. But then there's also once you play and use your card in the casino, you're automatically enrolled in what's called Club Royale. And with those, they have postcards or emails that they'll send out to you and get offers. And there's just a list, a very small list to choose from, but it's still a free cruise if you can make it. And a lot of times they're the next month, or they're just the next 2 months you get to choose like 5 different cruises or whatever. Well, this system, the point system at the host desk, they show it where it's like, get this many points, you get this like $200 off, $300 off. You get this many points and you get a free cruise, a free interior. You get this many points and it's a ocean view. You get this many points and it's a balcony with free play money. And so then that's what people are shooting for, those tiers, so that they can get the balcony, the free play. And once you get 2,500 points in either a selling or in a calendar year, um, you get free drinks in the casino. I think that's probably another thing that's different about playing in a ship casino is in a normal casino you're playing, somebody comes around, they're like drinks, you order a drink, no big deal, you give a tip, no big deal. But on a cruise, they do the same thing. Any drinks? Any drinks? And you order drinks, but they're going to charge you for every
Okay.
drink. It's going to go to your room.
Well,
So once you get
more
to 2,500 points, you don't have to pay for drinks anymore.
Yeah, more and more casinos are actually, you have to pay for. It's like half the country probably you have to pay for your drinks. But anyway, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess you have more options of what more premier cruise trips that you can take and that sort of thing, is basically what you're saying. If you kind of play the system and earn it through the casino, is that
Yeah,
what I'm
rather than
understanding?
yeah, so you'll get special offers that are like for next month, but then when you
Mm,
use the system, you actually get a list of cruises that
okay.
are for the next year, and you can plan to go once every 6 months or once every year,
So
once
you're
every three
actually
months, whatever. You'll have a choice before you win it. You'll know what you're shooting for.
So you could actually be getting two free cruises, because you can earn one where you get to choose, 6 months from now, I want this balcony to wherever, but then Royal Caribbean might just send you a free cruise as being part of their. I got that right?
Yeah, yep,
Okay.
yep, that's
So
it.
maybe win
And
two free cruises. Okay.
Yeah, and I think the big difference of using the system and going for the points while you're on a cruise is that's a guaranteed way, because there's a lot of people that they go. I mean, you have your wife's friend that got an offer, but there's probably another 100 people that didn't get an offer by doing the same thing. So there's no real way to know, like, okay,
Mm.
how did they get it? It's kind of like the same thing. Nobody really knows how or why they do or don't get those offers. But with the point system, I always say the best way is just earn the points while you're on the cruise, and that'll pay for your next cruise.
So obviously we know what you do works, because like you said, you've been on just about once every month for the last 3 years. So it is working. And now, if you go to his website or his YouTube channel, he has memberships, and you've actually you've given away, because you earn, like you said, 2-person rooms and stuff. So you, your wife, and so you've actually been giving away free cruises to some of your, I know there's members and tiers and that sort of thing. You can find out information but you're giving away free cruises now because you win so many. And that's actually how I'm joining. So he's actually been nice enough to give me a free cruise. I've never cruised before. My wife has many times. Well, a couple times, and I've never been on a cruise. So Brian's offered me a free cruise. I just have to cover the taxes, $100 or something like that. And so, which is really cool. And we're sailing next Monday. I think I've looked online. It looks like this is sold out. So there's, you can look and try to join us, but we're going out of Port Canaveral on Monday, this following Monday. So I'm really excited to be my first cruise. And so thank you for giving me one of your free cruises. But let's move on and
it's the least.
Go
it's
ahead.
the least I can do. It's the least I can do because I've learned a lot from playing craps. I'm a part of the Color Up Club.
Thank you.
And so your site and your videos and everything are awesome. I even still refer people. Like, it's funny because I don't refer everybody to my channel if they want to learn craps. I refer them to your channel.
That's funny. Well, yeah, I show everything, but you usually target in on, hey, this is how you earn free cruises, and it's a totally different mindset. Like I said earlier, what you've developed is not. It's about earning the points and time at table. It's not about winning or losing. Hopefully, you don't lose, but and you can win, and you can win big sometimes. But it's a whole different mindset. So let's talk about Bankroll a little bit. So how much do you need to win a free cruise, and kind of what do you suggest?
Well, I did tell the story that I did win it when I had $300 on the first cruise. And when I first started the channel, I did tell people, I'm like, hey, just take a couple $100 and you can win it. And I did, but that 300 turned into 2,000. So I took that the next time, and then it became 4,000. Then I took that, and I'm like, what if I lost all this money? Am I, like, how much does a cruise cost? So then I started thinking about that. And I came up with, and there are people that watch my channel from the very beginning that took 300 and won a free cruise, but they said it was a grind. And for me, I guess, yeah, it was a grind, but I was just in the casino with it raining outside, so I had
Right.
nothing really more to do. But I didn't feel like it was a grind. But so I came up with this. I came up with whatever you're shooting for. If you're shooting for a $2,000 cruise, don't bring more than $2,000. If you
Okay.
lose all $2,000, you're just prepaying for the next cruise, right? But you're also earning points towards your status. So for me, if you do bring 2,000, or if you have like a strategy, and maybe you're going on if you're going on a four night cruise and you have 2,000, I mean, that's 500 a night. If you're going to do 4 sessions, because that's another thing that a lot of people don't realize is the casino's not open all the time. And the craps tables, even if the casino open, doesn't mean that the craps tables are open. So you probably get 1 session a day, and it's after dinner. You go to dinner, go to some shows, and then at the end of the night is when they open the casino. As far as the craps table, sometimes the casino is open all the time, but not the craps table.
So you don't want to
So
you don't
for
want to play $4,000 and pay and go, hey, I won a $2,000 cruise. That kind of doesn't make sense, I guess. I mean, you can, but
well, unless a lot of people do, a lot of people do,
right, for
and
sure.
so, but they're having fun, and they, when you get that free cruise, you get some free play with it. And so whether it's $500, 750, I mean, even $100, it depends on how many points you get. And so you start off with some free play. That's always nice too.
Okay, so I have settled on, we're going on a 4-night cruise. I've settled on $1,200. Not necessarily that I'm willing to lose, but that I'm willing to lose, right? So I'm going to bring $1,200, which leaves me $400 a night. So how do we kind of balance that? if am I? How do you like to balance it with those numbers? 400 a night for 4 nights. Wait, no, that's $1,600, right? Yeah, that's 1,600. My
300. Yeah, that would
amounts.
be 300 a night.
Oh, 300 a night. Maybe that's not. Do I need to bring 1,600? I don't know. Okay, let's go off that number. Because 300 a night, maybe that's not enough, right? Maybe it is. Well, it's $1,200, right? $1,200 for a cruise.
Well, so what I would do if like even though you have 300 a night, I would probably bring 2 nights worth on the first night. And yeah, there may be a stop loss, but because of the system we're using, we're only going to use half of or risk half of our money. So
Okay.
I think that's something to think about. So 600 for the first night, but your stop loss would be 300, but you might have to use a little bit. And we'll talk about how that works a little bit. It's a hybrid system.
Right. Is it before we head over to the table and we kind of show it a little bit, and then we can kind of use those numbers? Um, is there anything else that I haven't covered or haven't asked you that you'd want to kind of explain about this?
Well, I
Kind
think
of
a lot
cruising
of
in
times,
general, or ideas or thoughts or questions people have about this.
yeah, I think some people would say it sounds too good to be true.
Uh huh.
And people have tried it, and every system works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. So there are some people that, like I said, want it with $300. We have a Facebook group called Holy Roller Cruising Club. It's a public Facebook group, and there's a lot of people in there that are sharing their stories. Like, hey, I did it, and others are saying, yeah, I lost $200 in 20 minutes, and I colored up and left. It didn't work. And it's like, well, you got to play a little bit longer, I always say. But having a way to switch systems if things aren't working, I mean, that's just the nature of the game. But I would say um, just stick with it and trust the system. And but it's hard to do that sometimes when
Yeah.
it doesn't look like it's going to work out.
Yeah, it's hard earned money, right? And you're like, man. So let's stick with my example: $1,200 or $1,600, and then day one I'm down, $600, or day two it's another bad string. I mean, it is gambling after all. So the dice can just find their way, and you just get demolished, and it just doesn't work out. Now, obviously, we're playing a hybrid where we're trying to minimize any volatility. And that's why we're not at the slot machines, right? Because slot machines have a built-in volatility, whatever. On a cruise ship, I think it's like an 85% payback. And just, we know slot machines are very volatile, but there are certain ways that you can play craps that minimizes that volatility. But again,
Yeah,
it's still,
and there
still
are there
gambling.
are people. I think the two main things that people would say that are a part of this whole free cruise community thing, I think number one, they would say slots is better, and I did the calculations on slots, and even with the 85% payout, you're probably gonna get, because slots are calculated as $5 through the
Mm-hmm.
slot machine gives you
Mm-hmm.
1 point.
Mm-hmm.
So 1,500 points is $7,500, no matter how you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
You're putting $7,500 through the machine. Now, notice I said through the machine. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that you brought $7,500.
Right.
On average, with the payback, it's still $1 per point. With the payback, if everything goes your way and you get just the regular payback, it's still $1 per point. So that's $1,500 for 1,500 points. So, and most people like slots because they can just, there's no real strategy. You just
Right.
kind of,
Sure.
I guess maybe there is. Sorry, you press the button and you see
Just
your points rack up as you go. And so a lot of people are like, I like that. I know where I'm at. There's no guessing, because sometimes at the table, if they didn't log your bet or something happens and you didn't get a lot of points, or whatever, I think people trust the points that come through the slot machines. The other
okay.
thing that people say is the first thing about this free cruise club thing is you shouldn't tell everybody. Stop telling people. That's the next thing. So there are some haters out there. They're like, the first rule is you don't tell anybody. But man, I couldn't help but tell people. It's just an awesome thing, and it hasn't went away. And The only thing is there's a lot more people that know about it. So when you get an offer, you have to use it right away, or that specific selling or that particular selling that you're shooting for might be no more rooms available, and then you have to pick another room. So whenever you get an offer, just book it right away.
Yeah, that's funny that yeah, don't give the secret away, but yeah, I don't know why they would discontinue it. I mean, you're still gambling significant money and stuff, and so anyway, but it did bring up a question. Slots, you could see your points rack up. Tell me the process, because land-based, you go to a casino, not only is it a mystery how many points they log or give you, and it changes from each shift to shift, and who knows behind the scenes magic that's not happening or happening. But we have a very structured system, but how do you make sure that your actual points are being applied when you're playing craps?
Well, I talk with the pit boss, with the dealers. They're recording in on there's a little box there, and they're recording in your bets as you do them. And I'm just letting them know if I go up a level, I'm letting them know, hey, I went up a level. Can you tell me what my average is right now? And they'll look down and they'll say, I have you at 220, or whatever. And so I'll know that that's what they have me in at. And so if you go down and they mark you as 100, then it's going to be a difference between the 200 and 100. So you don't really know until after your session's over how many points you got. And I think that's what people don't like about it, because if you didn't get a lot of points, and something happened, it's like there's really no going back. There's only going for the future. And so I've taken a couple people, and I've had a few people that didn't get a lot of points. We were playing the exact same way, but I got a lot of points and they didn't. And I was talking to the pit boss and they weren't. And then after it was over, we went back and we talked with the host and we said, hey, they didn't get a lot of points. We played the same system, the same amount of time. And they couldn't give them more points, but it was, and I don't say this happens all the time, but it happened that they gave them the cruise offer, because they were going for 2,000 points.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they didn't have 2,000 points, they gave them the 2,000 points offer, but they were waiting until the end of the cruise before they did that. So that was the first night that went where they didn't get a lot of points, but they had to wait until the end of the cruise to determine whether they got that offer or not. So I'm not saying it
So
happens every time, but you can
yeah,
talk with them and say, "Hey, something happened."
so they gave them good customer service, but the key is, I think it sounds like, to be proactive, tell them right up front, be active in saying, hey, what do you have me rated at now? Which is kind of a pain in the rear, but you got to make sure you're getting your points, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, it's not like we're being rude or
Mm-hmm.
mean to them or whatever. We are being nice, and it's not the typical. At least in my experience, Vegas has been when you ask for comps, it's like it makes them angry. Like who
Mm-hmm.
cares?
Right,
What do you care? Or
right.
whatever. But here on the cruise, I mean, you make it known. Hey, I'm hoping to get a free cruise out of this, and they're like, well, let's make it happen. They're
Okay.
they're more. They want you to come back. They want you to cruise again.
Yeah, I think you told me that before. Is like you kind of play along, like, hey Stan, we're going for a free cruise, right? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, with that, let's go ahead and head over to my table and kind of see this system that has at least worked for you, right? All right, Brian, we're here at the table. Do you have a name for this system, this hedging system?
Y- Yeah, I call it light in the darkness because we're going to play from the dark side, but then we're
Mm-hmm.
also going to be playing the light side as well. So it's dark, but it's also light. Light in the darkness.
Okay, and like I mentioned before, I'm going to play this extensively and test it more. So we're just kind of go over it a little bit, and then I'll show it more in detail in my follow-up video. But okay, puck's off. I should mention I have $1,200 in the rack here, so that's my total budget for a 4-night cruise. I know you mentioned stop loss. This is night one. We're not going to go below, or what are we going to do for night one?
Night one, we'll probably have 600, but we're gonna probably stop it if we lose 300 or 400.
Okay, so there's my $600. Maybe I leave that in my room. Well, I'll just set that aside. But I'm bringing $1,200. I'm going to bring $600 to the table tonight, and we're going to probably stop at 300 or 400, just depending on how it's going. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Puck's off. What's our move here?
So first one is to put $100 on the don't pass, on the come out. And so
Okay.
this is the scariest part for most people.
Okay.
Um, and a lot of people choose to hedge with hop the sevens or 11.
Okay.
But if you do that like three times and it doesn't hit, you spent $100 anyway. So the way I
Yeah.
like to think of it is you're gonna risk this 100 on the first roll.
Okay. Yeah, hopping it, I guess you'd need about $7 per number to pay 105, and then another 7 down on the 11. So you're probably in it between, I guess you could do a little less, but 20, $25 or 20 to $30 to hedge that.
Yeah, so you do that three or four times and you spend 100 trying to protect 100. So it
Yeah.
just depends. And other people would say, well, why not lay the 4 and 10?
Hmm.
If we lay the 4 and 10 for 100 each, but still, if the 4 and 10 roll, you're down 100. So I like to think of it as here's your move right here. Just as
Okay. So,
here we're ready to play.
so the only well the scary this isn't super scary about me because I'm not worried about it is just one roll because then we're going to cover it, but it is a little scary to know that I only have 6 shots at this because I mean we've all been at the table where you've seen 3 7s, 4 7s come out.
Yeah, and you can decide whether you want to go back up or not. But and what I mean is because we're going to have the dark side here, we're also going to play the box numbers. If you're not the shooter, you don't necessarily need a pass line or a don't pass. If you lose this and you're not the shooter, maybe you just go total light side and try to win $100. The difference is you're not going to have the $200 average bet on the table.
Okay, so we're starting off with $100. We're coming out. We're praying we don't see the 7 or 11, and let's go. Eight easy. Eight's our point.
All right. Now this system, it makes it pretty easy. There's a couple different ways you can play it, but I like to think of it as if it is an inside number, you do 110 inside. If it's a 4 or 10, you would go with a $50 4 or 10, whatever the point is, and then you would either get a 6 and 8 for 30 each, or you could do 44 inside.
Okay, so I'm going to use the dealer
So,
money.
so
Let's break it down first. Okay, so we got an inside. Any point on the inside number, we're doing 110 inside, right? So
110 inside.
so
Yeah.
$25 units and a $6 6 and 8.
Yeah, so essentially, if the seven comes now, you would lose $10, and if the eight comes, you would lose $65.
But we're hoping to win
But
some money and put more money on this 8
the
later on, right?
first hit, yeah, the first hit always goes on the point.
Okay.
If it's a 5, 6, 8, or 9,
Let's hold off on that for a second. So that's the inside, any inside number. Now, if we're on a 4 or 10, what do we do with the 4 and 10?
you would do $50 10.
Okay.
That pays 98. So
Yeah, we're assuming a
that
buy.
kind of covers.
Now,
Yeah,
you said 98. Does that they take in the vig on the win, or do you have to pay
you
52 up
you
front?
have to pay up front. You have
Okay.
to pay up front. And when you take it down, they give you the $2 back. But
Okay.
if you win it, that you pay it. So then you could go 44 inside. You could do 54 across with the rest of the numbers if you wanted to be, you know, uh, the idea is you're right around $100 out there and $100 on the don't, you know.
Okay. So you have, and that's where your 200 average bet comes in. We got 100 here and 100 up here. So whether it's 110
Yeah.
inside or 50 here, and like you said, 40, 50, whatever inside,
Yeah.
right? Which
And
would
if
be
and some people, yeah, some people might ask, So yeah, it would be 104 if you had 54 across with the rest of that. But some
That's
people ask, wouldn't they cancel
cancel
out
them
those
out.
if you're betting both sides? If they do, they would only cancel the $50 that's on the 10. They wouldn't cancel the 100 on the pass line or on the don't pass. So
Well,
if they
if
did, you're still going to get a $150 average bet, even if they did cancel out that 10. But most of the time they don't, in my
now,
experience.
okay, so that's what I was going to say because I know casino to casino they may or may not do that when you place the point like that. Um, Technically, they should because they're two completely different bets that had a huge risk here, and then
Yeah.
now you get to break even, but still you went through that risk, you played that number, so it's not fair that they wouldn't rate you. But you found on Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines that they do actually rate you. This is $200 in play.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's your option. If it's the 410, you can, approximately $50 on the inside numbers. And let's go back to our original roll number though. We were on an 8, and in that case, we were doing 110 inside.
Yeah. So our first hit, we're going to put on the 8 and get the hard 8 just for a little coverage for
Okay.
$5. So every one of those pay $35.
Because we want to cover that 8 as soon as possible, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we have an 8. We rolled an 8 right
Okay.
back.
So 60. So you get paid
First
35.
off,
You lost 60.
we lose our
Yeah.
100.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're already making me mad here. Okay, we win 35.
Win 35. Go ahead and rack it, and then we go back with 100.
Okay,
So it
puck's gonna
feels
go
like you're
off.
losing money, and you did lose a little
We
bit,
lost. We
but don't
lost
worry.
$65 there.
Yeah.
All right, we're back on for
So
100. Same
yeah,
shooter.
$65 loss, but you have a $210 average bet.
Our bets are off. 6 easy 6.
All right, so we're all set up. So
Same thing.
obviously the best number to get is a 2-3 on a come out, but then the point established 4 or 10 is amazing because then you automatically break even. So
Right here, we have to do a little work. We have to hit how many times? 1 or 2 numbers to build up that
just
6.
one.
Just one. Okay.
Yeah,
So
just one. I'll show you how
let's
that
see if we can
works.
hit that one number. 6. Okay. All
Hot
right.
shooter.
See now you know.
So,
See, I'm getting a little
so
tighter here. So we're gonna win 35. So we lost
yeah,
another
so
65
100.
bucks.
Yeah. So what's that, 130?
Yeah. Okay, we're coming back out for 100. Same crazy hot shooter. There we go. This example is going to be a nightmare, and you'll be like, oh. Okay, 6 hard. We're out on that 6. Same number. Surely you can't hit 4 times in a
Yep.
row.
Yeah,
All
let's
right,
get
so
a 5, 8,
5, 8, or
5, 8 or
9.
9.
5, 8,
Uh-huh.
or 9. Here we go. And there's a 7.
All right.
So in
That's
this
another
case,
10. Yeah, so in this case you
we
lose all that. You
we
lose
lose
$10.
110. We win 100. So we're out 10 bucks. So that's not
Yeah.
$10. I'm not worried about losing. No big deal there.
Yeah.
All right.
And
So
just like every system, once you catch a roll,
mm-hmm.
just like every system, like
Sure.
you'll be able to win some money because really all you have to do is place the first hit, and then you're in collection mode from that point on if you'd like.
Hopefully we can get to that part of the example. All right. So we're in the 5. So we're going to do 110 inside. I'm going to pull these guys. All right. Let's
Now,
hit.
there is an option. Sometimes people, if you get scared, you can remove that 9 and put it on the 5 if you wanted to, and go with a $50 5. That would help leverage,
Okay. I
So if
see.
you're kind of like, kind of, losing a bunch of money, the idea is you're using your money out, the same amount of money you have on the don't, you're trying to use out there, and you can use it however you'd like. But definitely the 6 and 8 are high probability numbers.
Right. So if we hit a 5 here, we would lose $75 because, well, another 65 because we
65.
win 35. But if we
Yeah.
put 50 on it, 50 will pay 70. we'd only lose $30. So I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. However you'd like to do it.
Okay, so we'll just stick with this. I'm not too scared yet. We're only down like 130 or whatever, but we need the 6, 8, or 9. All right, 10, we don't have that number. Another 10. We're rolling numbers in pairs today. And a 7. Okay. We lose in 110. We win 100. Another $10 down the drain, which I'm not sweating the 10.
But it all adds up. And it
Yeah,
adds
yeah,
up
yeah.
both ways. You know, you'll
Yeah,
lose
okay.
slow and the idea is that you'll lose slow, but you also win slow and you'll have more time at the table.
Okay, there's the
Did we get a
10.
10 on the come out?
So
All right.
that's a good one for us because we're
Yeah.
going to buy the 10 for 52. So 3 and change. And now we got another $50 to play with. And I'm going to, because I'm in
You
at
can
this
do
point,
44
no risk.
inside.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it light. So $50
Yeah.
and just hope for a big hand.
So in this case, you don't have to put the first hit on the point. You can just go into full collection, or you can do, a power press collect or press and collect, however you'd like to play.
Because here, we don't care if a 10 rolls, we don't care if a 7 rolls. We're just in a mode to make money now just because it's a 10.
Yep. Yep, exactly.
All right, and then the decision, I guess, is how, they're going to call that a 9. How aggressive do you want to be? So we're going to get paid
Yeah.
14.
So you know how you excuse me. So you know how you put in 44, but there was 52 on that. So you still have some extra money to throw in $1 and go to a quarter on that 9. You can power press and still not lose money if the 7 comes.
Right, because
And
we
so
were just in it, 44
right.
plus
Or
52. All right.
right. Or you could just press the 6 and 8, 1 unit each, however you'd like to play it. But the idea is to get it up where you're winning at least a quarter on every roll, because then you'll win your money back that you lost the last time, on the last few rolls.
Yeah, I'm going to do, let's go, I'm going to press the 6 and 8. So we'll take those up to $18 bets. I don't know why, I'm just picking it. And
All right.
hoping for the best. 8, easy 8.
So for me, what I would do, and this is where you can really play aggressively, because if the 7 comes, you just break even. Now, you might not feel like you break even because of the other previous rolls,
losses, right?
but this is where you be aggressive to break even. So if you threw in $3, you can take both the 6 and 8 to 30 each right now, and still not even have, you'd still make like $1 or $2 if the 7 came.
All right, so 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 30 there. I don't think I had to throw in $3 because I got 30 here.
Yeah,
Actually,
18 and 18.
Yeah, and I still have $5 here.
18
did I
pays
pay it
21.
out wrong? Oh, I think
Yeah,
I paid
yeah.
out 27. Yeah, okay. So let's see. I paid out how much did I pay out?
Yeah,
I paid out
lock all
27.
that.
So $4 goes back. $5 goes back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I
this
made
is-
a little mistake
this-
there.
Yeah, no, but this is where you can be aggressive. And right, the next one I would probably just collect. The next hit I would just collect. Hopefully it's a 6 or 8 would be great.
If we can get it, right? 2 craps we don't care about. The only thing is it worrisome that we haven't collected any, but because the previous shooters were still down? Or is your mindset more, hey, we've got to win that money back at some point?
Yeah, we got to win the money back at some point, but also sometimes they'll be rating this bet right here. So remember we had 210 to start with, or whatever it was, 200. No, we did the different one, but we were around 200, but now we have $250 out there, or
Mm.
$230 out there. So we have a higher average bet, so we're gaining more points right now. So this one I would definitely collect.
So is this where even a $50 increase, do you need to tell them, hey, I'm playing 250 now? You got me at 250? Do you need to mention that or?
I don't mention it. Sometimes I see them type it in, and sometimes they say it depends on the box, just like every casino. But sometimes the box says, no, we only rate you for what you started with, not what you pressed to. And I say, okay, that's fine. And sometimes I'll say, well, then take me down and put me back up and then rate me.
Oh yeah, yeah. If that's the case, I'd be like, well, pull me down. What am I rated at? 0. Put me back up. Now I'm at 250, right? Yeah.
Right, right, right.
Okay. That it.
But it's all fun. It's
Okay.
lighthearted fun.
All right.
I'm
So
not trying to be rude with them and stuff.
we finally collected. We still don't. We still have a hole on the 4, I guess. And there's that 7. So we're
Okay.
gonna lose up here. We're gonna lose 100, 10, 20, 30. We win 100. So we lose 30. We only collected 35. So we won $5. But hopefully we're rated at 250.
Yeah, well, I think you won a little bit more than that because we had 50 and 44, which the difference was $6. We threw in $3, which means we were only in it up at the box numbers for $97. Plus we brought back $35, right?
So $38. We still only.
Yeah,
Oh, I get. Oh, I see. We won 38, not just 5. Actually,
right.
profit of 38. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I think we've covered it for the most part. Again, obviously, you can, if you're worried about this, you can hedge this. And why did you kind of? Is it just to get the $200 on the table? That's why you've decided to do the 100. Don't pass. I mean, obviously, well, you could do a don't and then lay odds later, but then the odds aren't being rated. You've just
Yeah,
kind of
correct.
settled
And
on this as.
yeah, if you have some people say I want to do $50 on the don't pass. Well, then you can't really cover the point and any kind of numbers to allow one hit to establish the point. So if you want to run that really quick,
Okay, yeah,
just
let's say I've been hammered on day 1 and it is a consideration to drop down, right? To play this in half. Basically $100
yeah, you
average bet.
can. Yeah, but then
We'll see what happens.
uh,
Okay. So let me
yeah,
come out. I got $50 on the don't. We're out on the 5. So I have about $50 to play with.
yeah. So if you do 44 inside,
All right, let's throw in 50.
that's the same thing. Yeah, that'll be like the same thing as 110 inside.
Right.
It's a little bit, you're not overbalanced. You still have $6 difference. So you could press the 5 by $5.
Something like that.
But see, that just pays 21, right?
Right. So the key is we've got to get this guy built up to we need $40 to get this guy built up to where we're breaking even, which is going to take multiple hits. That's what you're saying.
Well, if you do one hit, so what is that? It's 44 inside, right?
14, yeah, $40 payoff. Let's say we hit the
Yeah,
8.
but you know how you had 50, so you had an extra $6?
Yep.
Make the 5 15. Make the 5 15 from that
So we'll throw
from
back
that
in that
extra.
5.
Yeah, so you're using
Grab some
49 out
pennies.
there and 50 on the don't pass. Uh,
So now
now count
it
how
doesn't
much
hurt
you
a little
have.
bit.
Well, count how much you have out there on the box.
10, 20, 30, 55, 59.
Yeah, see, so you're a little bit overbalanced there, for that don't. So once you go down on the don't, whenever you take your first hit and put it on the point, you have to calculate the amount of money you're getting paid on that point plus the amount that you pressed on that point, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
So this would pay 35, but if you get the 6, 8, or 9 to hit, you'd bring it up to probably what, 35, it pays 49, and then you would break even there. But see, I wouldn't start with 25 on the five unless you're up. If you're up, use the casino money to automatically hedge if you're up in your bankroll, and then you don't have to worry. But some people like to start there. But the reason why I don't like to start there is because you get a point 0.7 out and you're losing money just like everybody else.
Mm. So you would say keep it at the 14.
No, I would put $15 on the
$10,
five.
15.
$15. Yeah. And all the rest would be at the $10 level.
Right. And
So
so,
that would
but
pay 21.
when you're hit 21 to cover the 50, so you'd lose 30.
Well,
But
but if you get one hit and put it on the five,
right, let's say we roll a 6, we get 14. We could put on the
but you know how we
5.
had
We would have had a dollar
throw in a
left.
dollar. Yeah.
So that's up to $30.
Okay, so then that pays 35 plus 14. That's what you have to remember, that you put 14 on it. So 35 plus 14 is what you would be winning, and it would cover your don't. That's why you only need one hit
But if it's at
to break
30
even.
and I roll the 5, I'm only going to get paid out 35. I lose 50, I get paid
Right.
30.
Right. But
But the
add
money's right in
14.
here.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I
yeah,
could pull
exactly.
that. I could pull that down, take this down, back down to
Yep,
$10,
there you go.
and keep going.
Well, see,
Okay,
the other
okay,
five is there. See the other five, put the other five because it was at 15, right?
right,
See, there's your 50.
right. I see.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
It's a different kind of system.
Yeah, for sure. So I have to get used to it, but it makes sense. I see what you mean by kind of balancing it out. But again, there's the whole in the strategy is, hey, if you're rolling 7-11s on the come out, there's nothing you could do about that.
Yeah, I have a version of the Light in the Darkness called the Batman version. And
Okay.
the reason why I call it the Batman version is because you wouldn't have a DP on the come out. You would do a DC after the point is established.
Okay.
And DC, that's why it's called Batman, because
Okay.
DC Comics.
But
Right?
the same thing, you're just moving around on which roll
Right.
you're hoping to avoid
Right.
that 7-11. So whether it's the first roll
Right.
or the second roll,
Or
whatever. Yeah.
so the point 7 out can
Yeah.
hurt you on that one, or the
Yeah.
second roll yo or whatever,
You're just shuffling around which roll you're going to lose by. Okay. All right, Brian, I really appreciate you sharing this strategy. I am going to, again, I'll go through it thoroughly, roll it out, and hopefully not make any mistakes so we can kind of see how the ebbs and flows of the cash goes. And then hopefully when we're on the cruise, I'm either going to break even or close to, or win money and win my free cruise, right?
Yeah, for sure. And you can read some stories at our Facebook group, Holy Roller Cruising Club, if you want to jump in there. There's good stories and there's bad stories, people that won and people that lost. So
Yeah, very cool.
that's
And
the way
then
it goes
again on
sometimes.
YouTube, you can find them at Holy Roller with just the R. And yeah, Brian, thanks again for sharing this with us. And hopefully we don't crush the whole cruise industry where they're giving out free cruises, right? Well, we're going to ride it
Right.
out until they take it away from us. But then again, we'll just move to a different cruise line and figure it out there. So. All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, Brian, and sharing this great information with us. And again, don't send me comments that, hey, this is you're never going to win money on this strategy. It's not what it's about. It's about average size bet and time at the table. So if you do have those type of strategies and want to share that you think would work better, then hey, definitely share them with us. But this is what kind of he settled on. It's worked for him over 3 years, cruise a month. Man, that's pretty cool. If you like cruising, right?
Yeah.
All right. So until next time, and for me, this following Monday on the cruise ship, good luck on coloring out.